I'm Terry Babich. I'm a fly fishing guide. I tie custom flies for people, and I also used to be a competitive fly angler. I like to target the alternate species like the trash fish, like barbel and carp and stuff, and nowadays particularly grass carp. So today we're lucky enough, we're at Frontiers. They've lent us a space to come and do some tying. Thanks to them, thanks to the gents. My dog wouldn't allow us to do any tying and filming at home, that's for sure. So yeah, with fly we're going to tie today is the Carp Tugger. I've been fishing this fly for quite a while. Back in the day where people completely and utterly frowned on carp. I've been fishing it since then. It's a weighted fly, so that it can be sight fished with accuracy. The weight allows you to place the fly particularly accurately, which is imperative to catching carp. If you can't place your fly accurately with carp and you're sight fishing for them, go home, design another fly. The fly itself is designed on three different things. So it has a bead in the front that is bright colored. Carp are very color orientated. They can be color specific on the day as well. So there's a bead on the end, on the front, which pretty much imitates an egg. Thanks very much. I know guys hate fishing egg flies, but yeah, so we'll put a bright orange or bright chartreuse bead on the front, or we'll put a red bead on the front. So that is one focal point on the fly. Then we have the body, which is generally black. That is a tapered shape, like a leech or something like that in the water. And you'll see there's very distinctive color differences between the bright color and the black color. That is just to make the fly a little bit more visible, particularly in dirty conditions. And then the tail. Now the tail is going to just be marabou. It's going to flop around a little bit, a bit like something moving around to attract the fish, but also maybe like a little worm if you're using red. So very distinctive breaks in the color. The profile is important on that fly. You must taper that body. Okay, so the materials we need for this fly, first of all, we need a 4mm tungsten bead. You need that for the extra weight, bright colors, red, orange, chartreuse. We need a very heavy wire hook. So these are the Grip 14731 scud hooks. It's a particularly strong hook, and this size that I'm using for carp here is a size 8. For barbel, I'll use a size 6. We're going to use strung marabou in a variety of different colors. Today's demo, I'm going to use chartreuse, but obviously red, orange, white are popular colors to use. You normally just use one feather of this at a time, and that's normally sufficient to tie the fly. You're going to need your lead wire. On the lead, we're going to try and use a 0.2 to 0.25 lead, or medium to heavy lead, whatever is available. Lead's not always easily available. People seem to frown on using lead. On the dubbing side, you don't have to be too specific, but I prefer to use a coarse black. So anything coarse black, it can have a little bit of flash in it if you like, but a coarse black will give you good coverage, and the long strands will also make the fly quite strong. If you really want to, you can bug that up a little bit by brushing it out. Just going to put it into the bend of the hook. Make sure it's nice and firm. That's all ready. The next material we can take is lead wire. It can be a little bit difficult to find nowadays, but I prefer proper lead wire, not the one that has other material substitutes in it. And you're looking at a 0.25, 0.3 round about there, or a medium to a large. We're going to put about 10 turns of this on. Okay, I put 12 on. You don't have to put it on too tightly, just hold it tight, wiggle it, break it off. Then you can just push it up to the bead. That closes all the gaps. Hold on to the material again, wiggle the little end, and it comes off nice and easily. Normally I wouldn't go much beyond, on the hook shank, I wouldn't really go beyond the barb of the hook. Barb or barbless, that's up to you. But yeah, I wouldn't normally go beyond that, especially on these scud hooks. So it's a bench-shaped hook. You don't want to go further beyond than that, because once you start putting material on it, then you're going to close up the gap. We're going to just take our thread. So this is a wax thread. That's a 140 UTC. Just wrap it over itself at the back here a few times, just so that it bites down onto the hook. Clip it off. Make sure it's on. So a lot of guys will wind this, that it covers this thing up completely. I build up a little bit of a a head at the back here to stop it from sliding. Then I just go in between the gaps there, just to trap it down, a little bit behind the bead, and then I go back to the starting point. And then I trap it down in between. That just pulls the cotton tight in between the segments of the lead wire. We're going to shape this a little bit so that it's tapered from the back to the front. That just gives it a little bit of a hoho, maybe like a leech or an insect type of shape. There's not a lot of profile on this fly, but you do want to keep a little bit of a profile. And black being one of the sharper colors, the more defined colors, you want to make sure that that's quite visible. So just like that. Then we're going to take our strung marabou. Normally you'll just strung marabou. This is like a chartreuse color. So with a carp tugger, I'm quite inclined to tie it in a variety of colors: orange and black, white and black, red and black, all different sorts of colors, chartreuse and black like we're going to do here. Carp can be color specific. There are days where they'll have a color preference. It might be orange on the day. It might have to do with the color of the water, and even just a preference. Certain size fish will go for one color, bigger fish one color, smaller fish another color. So we're just going to measure that out. Doesn't have to be rocket scientist stuff. 2 or 3 times the length of the hook. Then we just measure it off. Then we're going to just clip off the excess. Place it just behind the bead. Trap it down nice and firmly. I trap it down quite seriously there. It doesn't matter if you build up a little bit here, because you are going to taper the profile from the back. There we go. As you can see there, you've already got a bit of a profile, but I do need to trap it down. This will also, the marabou will just help keep the lead in place if you are worried about the lead sliding. Sometimes you don't want to build it up too much. The marabou you've got on the body is a little bit thick, and you don't want to put more cotton on that builds up the body too much. You got a little bit sticking out here. You just take a lighter and you just burn off all the little excess pieces. Okay, but that should be quite fine. Okay, take the cotton back to the back again. You can see already there's a bit of a taper. Any sort of black dubbing, it doesn't have to have a lot of flash in it. I prefer coarse dubbing. It just means you get a lot of coverage quicker, so you can tie a lot of these flies quickly. The more time you spend tying flies, the less time you spend fishing. So a lot of my flies will be designed to be able to tie them pretty quickly. Sometimes it's easier to feed the dubbing just off the edge of your wad of dubbing, and then you can just gently work out exactly how much you need. Coarse dubbing goes on quite loosely. Doesn't have to be really, really fancy. You can try and keep it touching turns. If you have little bits of gaps like that, it's not a crisis. It just adds a little bit of color coming through. Again, yeah, you'll see I just feed it off the edge. Like this, you can just really get the right amount that you want. This is thick, so we've got to pull it loose. Try not to pull the rest of it all off. Take the cotton back down. If the water is really dirty, you can bulk up on the body a little bit, make it look a little bit more visible. If the water is quite clean, then you can tie a more slender body. It also doesn't matter if some of the cotton from underneath sticks through. Pretty rough. Doesn't need to be super tidy or anything. The fish didn't read any manual on how you're supposed to tie it. We're just going to whip finish it off. I normally do 2 whip finishes. I've seen people catch largemouth yellows on it. I've caught 10-pound trout on it. We've caught barbel on this fly up to 28 kilos. So this fly will go with me everywhere.